Someone once asked me, I was giving a lecture at one of our churches, what makes icon an icon? I'm thinking, you know, icon is different from real looking picture. Icon is something we see, you know, first time we're looking at icon, we see something, there's something not right. And we're looking at these figures look a little different, there's like something wrong with the geometry, kind of, you know, it's kind of like a primitive looking thing, you know, why is all this? And this is all done on purpose. Because it simply represents someone who is already on the other side, in the other world. There is, you know, in icon, there's no one from this world. Someone who is already in that realm, heavenly realm. So the first criteria for that icon, what makes an icon is that it's called the reverse or reverse perspective. What is it? It's kind of, I'll explain it. That's why I brought one of my pictures here. And I painted this picture. It's a picture of the church where my wife grew up. It's in a village. I painted this picture in 2 hours, believe it or not. Black and white, very easy, you know, line here, line there, right? But what you can see on this picture is, you can see deep inside the picture. Somewhere in that picture, there is that vanishing point. You know what I mean? You see deep inside. Right? Or let's say I have a little diagram here. This is like a 3D picture. We see the front of the house, the side of the house, a little chimney here, and then the trees behind the house, and they're smaller, smaller, smaller because the vanishing point is somewhere inside the picture. Where in icon, it's the opposite. In iconography, we see all these goofy looking angles, and see we have like, here's the front wall, here's the ceiling, here's the side wall, and it all looks like one piece, right? And then all of a sudden here's the door, I guess it's a door, right? It's like a 2D picture, two-dimensional. It just doesn't make sense, right? So instead of this 3D picture, when we see deep inside, the vanishing point is in there, and we are the viewers, right? In icon, the vanishing point is in us. It's in the viewer. I mean, in us, the God is a viewer. Excuse me, right? So God is watching us through the icon. God is looking at us. He is the viewer, and the vanishing point is in us. Is that clear? It's a very important criteria. You know, and the other thing is, you know, there is something like you don't see shadows in icons because of the reverse perspective. Now, like in this picture of this church, right? You see shadows here, you see shadows here, under a little canopy, there's a little shadow, right? In iconography, we don't see shadows. Why is that? Because icon is producing light. And we're being illumined by that light. So that's one of the criteria for icon, what makes an icon. The other thing is the figures, or the bodies. They're kind of like stretched, alright? An average human body is, when we take the length of the head, like let's say my head, we should measure 5.5 lengths of my body. That's a normal body. You know, that's an average, all right? It could be 5 lengths of your head. It could be 6 lengths, but 5.5 is a pretty good bet. In iconography, when we have the head, it's usually 6.5, 7.5, or 8.5 length of the head. That's how long is the body in icon. Some Russian icons, they go to 11.5, to stretch way out. And this is just to express something that these people are just not from this world anymore. You know what I mean by saying that? They're just not living here anymore in this world. They're in heaven. So that's why you see those stretched bodies. The other thing is, when we look at, we see like elongated nose, because the saint already smelled the fragrance of the Holy Trinity. You see large eyes in those saints, making contact with us. You know, we're kind of, when we're watching the icon, we're like in communion with the saint or with Christ. Large eyes, because the soul, Briggs believed that the soul is right behind the eyes. You know, when you talk to a person that is not really honest, you know, you'll talk to a person, he or she'll talk and look around, you know, and just not honestly talking to you. There is no eye contact. It means that the person is either lying or making stuff up or something. You know what I mean? It's not honest. But in icon, you see that contact, you know, those large eyes. And large eyes because they've seen big things. Now then you have large ears. In icon, I mean, you know, there is large ears. Yeah. It just sounds bad when I say something, but you know, you have to excuse me, please. Large ears because they obeyed what God said. They were listening to what God said, God's commandments. Small mouth. You see small mouth in icons because they obeyed God. They were not talking a lot. They were more listeners than talkers. Those are those criteria. You know, when we have like a body, you have outlines, right? Nice figures. In icon, you don't see that. You know, usually when when I paint icon, you know, there's also a code for it, like canon or rule, that those like clothes should be made wide, sort of, and then you see those large over flaps of that clothing. That's a rule that we should keep with icon. You know, we should not see the beautiful outlines of the body. We should not, you know, in icon. That's one of the other criteria. And that also represents the sanctity of the saint. You know, those large clothes. You know. So these are those criteria for an icon. What makes an icon an icon? Then the other thing is, it's getting hot here, isn't it? Presov, right? Yeah. So the other thing is, what I wanted to tell you is, icon could be made on any wooden panel. It also could be made as a fresco on a wall. It could be made as a mosaic. I have some icons. You know, my friend brought this icon from Georgia, Russia, and it's actually the icon of St. George. A woman pulled a stone from the creek and just painted the icon of St. George on it. And so this icon is made on stone. Republic of Georgia in Russia. And then you have some carved icons. It's another type of an icon. This is my friend. He had a talk before me here last month. Father Elias Rafai. He's in Houston, but he brought this icon. He gave me this icon as a gift, and it's a Coptic icon, Coptic cross. It's from Egypt. You can close it, and that's how they was. This is the typical Coptic cross, but you have the typical Coptic iconography in there. And you can get closer and look at it after the lecture. This cross, believe it or not, it was made in Peru. Whoever was that, but it's carved in the wood. And we have some icons. This is the ivory icon. And there's some enameled icons. But again, you can come closer and look at it. Some tapestry. Different kinds of icons. So if someone says that icon is just on a piece of wood or board, it's not really true. There's iconography on the gospel book, there's iconography on some vestments, there's iconography on chalices, and hibiscus, and liturgy. And we have all places for icons.